If there's one thing we love in video games, it's playable bosses/villains, and even better, when they are just as powerful as they are when you fight them. In Wuthering Waves, we have already unlocked a playable boss in that of Cartothea, and soon, in 2.5 Phase 1, we will get Phrolova. Now, you may see the title of this video and think, well, how is she that important? Unlike Cartothea, she is a proper villain. Phrolova looks to be a different character entirely for this game, and the implications may rattle the gacha space as a whole. Now, there has been quite a bit of online discourse surrounding how she's going to be played, and a few certain laws in China that are actually quite restrictive when it comes to playable villains. Now, thanks to a lovely Google AI overview, it says that China's gaming regulations include a restriction that prevents games from featuring playable characters who are portrayed as evil or who have committed evil acts in the past. Now, a lot of people think Phrolova is evil. However, there are a lot of things that point to her being just morally grey or tragic backstory that people may have overlooked, but I will talk about that later because we also have a big creator in the Wuthering Waves space talking about it and causing a lot of unrest within the community. And this creator is by the name of Marco Meatball. Now, I do want to preface this saying he has gone back on his word and actually explained it more, so this is not sort of his final word. However, I just want to use this tweet because this is the tweet that started everything, basically. Now, he said, "I've been thinking about Wuthering Waves and Phrolova becoming playable. If she has a change of heart and her character moves completely from being a villain, that's it for me." Now, right off the bat there, saying that if she has a redemption arc that's very quick, then he's gonna quit. Now, this is definitely because of the misconception that she is a villain, and I don't think she completely is. I just think she's extremely morally grey already. And he also says, if she's morally grey/questionable, then I'm okay with it. I'm just deeply concerned they're going to justify spending on characters by having them have change of hearts, which is going to dumb down and homogenize this game massively and not have any stakes attached. She's a great villain. I really don't want her to have some sort of tragic backstory that made her evil, but when she realizes the error of her ways, it will feel so cheap, and no matter how much I have in my heart for this game, I just won't keep playing. Now, there was a lot of discourse from this tweet, simply because Marco Meatball has had nothing but praise for the game. The dude has been, quote-unquote, glazing the game. And then all of a sudden he puts that out, so a lot of people sort of attacked him for this. And I can see both sides here. Yes, I'm going to be the person that sits on the fence. Do I think the tweet is a bit naive? Yes. But do I see the reason why he got attacked? Also yes. But do I also understand his point of view? Yes, I do. I do get what he's getting at with the whole cheapness of it, because especially if a villain is so sort of ingrained in their ways, it just feels very jarring to have that sort of shift in personality almost. He has made a few follow-up tweets to this, but I won't cover them in this video, simply because this is not a video on this topic. This is just including this. Now, the reason why I actually don't think she's a villain is because there have been hints of basically that she's just morally grey. And she actually has had some sort of tragic backstory. I mean, most villains have, let's be real. She's not evil for the sake of being evil. Plus, when villains are just evil for the sake of being evil, it's just very shallow. For example, take one of the best villains in recent movie history, and that is Thanos. The dude wanted to wipe out half the population simply because he saw it happen on his own planet. The dude had a tragic backstory, and his motives were still there. Technically, he actually didn't even have a change of heart throughout the entire time he was on screen, and actually died believing that what he did was right. That is a good villain, simply because he had a tragic backstory. And there are certain clips in trailers, especially the Cristoforo sort of monologue trailer that we got just before 2.4, that hinted at Phrolova having a tragic backstory. But you can also take it from her sort of demeanor. She's very sort of plain and sad all the time. A person without a tragic backstory does not act like that, I'm telling you now. But now back to the topic of this video, and that's why she will be revolutionary. Why is she important? Well, of course, we had the main story quest in 2.4. To be continued, mind you, this video is made before the Phase 2 story quest is out. But what we've seen so far definitely hints that they are not going to change the way she acts, basically. In the main story quests, when you're in a dream and you meet her, she says that she is tired of meeting you as a foe, and she admits that it's rather boring.
Here, I am not your foe. Nor can we harm each other, should we so wish. Lay your blade to rest, if only for now. 'Tis a pleasure to see you again, on this special stage. Let's take our time. I would like our talk to be pleasant. If we continue to meet as foes, the symphony grows monotonous. I confess I find it rather uninspired.
Which does lay a lot of groundwork for her being in your team, basically saying that, oh hey, I'm tired of fighting simply because it's boring. Not because, oh, I've had a change of heart, because it's boring. And after you complete the main story quest, you can go and do some exploration quests. And there is one, in part of Septimont, that you follow Phrolova around. In this quest, you help a couple gladiators basically uncover a mystery in part of Septimont. And of course, Phrolova is involved. However, without any spoilers, the actions she does in the quest indicates that she is actually not a villain, and more of a morally grey character. Because it was a somewhat merciful act that she did to one of the gladiators. However, it was not the act of a hero. Now, I did not take a screenshot of this when I did it, but she apparently says something a bit over the top for a gacha game. A bit gory for a gacha game, I mean. I think she mentioned something about bashing someone's skull in. So from what we've had so far, there's been no indication that there will be sort of a villain to hero or sort of shift. There will be nothing like that in the game from what we've seen so far, which is really good. In my personal opinion, I think that they should definitely do the morally grey route, because it is so important to have these characters, especially in gacha games, as examples to other gacha developers that, hey, you can have a morally grey character and get away with it. For example, we sort of have that with Kafka in Star Rail, for example, maybe even Blade as well. But since Phrolova is a lot sort of more darker, I think they will keep her that way. Maybe lighten her up just a tiny bit, just to avoid getting prosecuted by the Chinese government. But yes, I think what they're doing right now is what they should be doing, so I think they're handling it extremely well. However, if they do some sort of retribution character arc, as long as it's done well, as long as it's written well, which I trust Kuro that they can do, as long as it's written well, then I am fine with whatever route they take with Phrolova. And that is why she's important, because if she stays the way she is, then not only for this game, but for other games as well, they can have a look at Phrolova and say, oh hey, we can actually have some sort of villain and then have them playable in the future. But again, this video could completely be useless by the time the second phase story comes out. We could get a complete 180 in the story. So of course, this video is based on what we have right now. I have seen the Phrolova leaks, but I'm not going to cover them. They are extremely good. Oh my goodness me, I love them. But yes, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.